playing with other men's wives while the husband slept. The first wedding night and family traditions among the Chukchi. Welcome. Today, we will talk about the inhabitants of the far north and delve into the concept of family and marriage among this particular tribe. Is it true that Chukchi women independently gave birth and where their husbands were during this crucial moment? Why Chukchi wives could easily marry a stranger? Is it true that girls in these regions marry at the age of 13? Be sure to watch the video to the very end so you don't miss anything important. Chukchi women are capable of many things. You may have heard or even know that women of certain tribes not only fulfill traditional female duties, including childbirth and homemaking. This practice is inherent in Chukchi women living in northern Russia. But let's go through it step by step. First and foremost, it's essential to note the harsh conditions in the far north. We must understand that survival and continuing one's lineage here is quite challenging. However, the Chukchi have adapted to such an extent that even researchers and travelers never cease to be amazed by this capability. Chukchi girls and women effortlessly perform various tasks for hours in the cold. Temperatures in Chukotka can drop to -30 degrees Celsius and below. For example, the female population engages in sewing without gloves. It's truly impressive. In addition to this, Chukchi women regularly assist men by helping with the transport and reinforcement of the Yaranga, the chief dwelling of the Chukchi, ice breaking, reindeer herding, hunting, and food preparation. Surprisingly, Chukchi women can also defend themselves. They have mastered all combat skills. There are instances where the female population of Chukotka successfully defended settlements and repelled enemy attacks. Lastly, Chukchi girls and women leave behind heirs. Raising children is their direct responsibility. It's interesting to note that Chukchi women can independently give birth. This is directly related to the conditions in which the northern people live. Plus, the lack of civilization plays a role. It's understandable. Highly specialized doctors are unlikely to arrive here promptly to provide all the necessary assistance. The question arises, where are the husbands during this critical moment? The answer is quite simple. Chukchi husbands often go hunting or entertain guests. Therefore, Chukchi women have fully mastered the necessary skill and now independently give birth. Otherwise, they simply would not have survived. It's important to highlight that the male population of the far north takes the creation of families seriously. Chukchi men prefer women who have robust health, physical endurance, and can bear children successfully. In general, female representatives meet the expectations of their future spouses, giving their wives to strangers. Now, let's talk about a tradition of northern peoples that some travelers have learned about. It's related to the preference of Chukchi men who truly had authority over their wives. Well, get ready, we're starting. Tell me honestly, can you imagine a situation where a husband gives his wife to a stranger? This is precisely what the Chukchi are capable of. As mentioned earlier, it is the men in these regions who welcome guests. Furthermore, these guests could be completely unfamiliar people of a different nationality, religion, etc. Nonetheless, the Chukchi people are cautious and prudent. They understand when someone genuinely needs help. Take, for example, travelers. In most cases, they stay for a few days to study the life and culture of a specific tribe. In our case, the subject of investigation is the Chukchi. So, imagine a traveler stopping in this place. Typically, he is greeted by the elder or the host. The Chukchi man accompanies the guest and leads him to the Yaranga. In this dwelling, everything necessary is provided: food, drinks, warmth, and a woman. Moreover, the guest can only be alone with her with the permission of the husband after nightfall. But why does this happen? Isn't this a violation of moral principles? To answer this question, it is enough to understand that we are talking about a completely different people. They live in isolation from civilized society according to their own rules, customs, and traditions. If a husband gives permission to be alone with his wife, it is a sign of gratitude. In this way, the Chukchi show respect to their guest and indicate that they trust him completely. That is the whole secret of this seemingly strange Chukchi tradition. And there is more to it. There is a case known where, after being alone together, the guest was married to the newlywed wife. For this, everyone in the vicinity would gather, harness reindeer, and take the couple to an open area. There, they would be blessed by the local shaman. The latter, by the way, plays a key role in the life of the Chukchi people. This includes connection with spirits, given the paganism practiced in Chukotka, blessing the newlyweds, and strengthening families as a whole. As for the first wedding night among the Chukchi, it takes place between the spouses in a specially designated Yaranga dwelling. It is there that the man and woman are secluded during the dark hours of the day. It should be noted that the northern people have distinctive family traditions, early entry into adult life and group marriage. Few know, but it is the girls of the Chukchi people who early prepare for adult life. From the age of 13, they already seclude themselves with their future spouses and spend their first wedding night with them. This peculiarity is associated with the specifics of life in harsh conditions. It is unknown what to expect in the near future and what dangers may arise. This is why in Chukotka, future heirs are taught about adult life after the age of 10. Another peculiarity is related to the so-called group marriage. Chukchi individuals can take each other's wives to spend a night with each of them. This phenomenon occurs quite often. Essentially, the inhabitants of the far north practice polygyny and polyandry. An interesting fact, it turns out that marital unions between relatives also take place in the lives of this people. For example, cousins can bind themselves in marriage, as well as uncles with their nieces. But for variety, the Chukchi resort to one trick. They can marry someone of a completely different nationality. Local shamans, about whom we spoke earlier, can enter into relationships with people of different ages. They even consider very elderly Chukchi individuals as potential partners. This is truly astonishing. Divorce processes also exist among the Chukchi peoples. This is because girls and women may be dissatisfied with the physical health of their spouses, especially if it concerns the male line. In such cases, Chukchi men sincerely regret when their life partners leave them and go to others. And lastly, what needs to be understood is the loss of loved ones. For example, widowed girls and women initially went through a difficult period. They suffered hunger and did not enter into new relationships for a long time. But then, the female population of Chukotka realized that they could barely survive without a family, especially in such regions. That's why they found new men for themselves, married them, and started living as complete families. This is how it continues to this day, proving once again that the Chukchi people survive even in the most challenging psychological situations.